In linguistics, a collective noun is a word which refers to a collection of things taken as a whole. Most collective nouns in everyday speech are mundane and are not specific to one specific kind, such as the word group, which may apply to people in the phrase a group of people, but may also correctly refer to dogs in the phrase a group of dogs. Other collective nouns are specific to one kind, especially terms of venery, which are words for specific groups of animals. For example, pride, as a term of venery, will always refer to lions, but never to dogs or cows. Morphological derivation accounts for many collective words. Because derivation is a slower and less productive word formation process than the more overtly syntactical morphological methods, there are fewer collectives formed this way. As with all derived words, derivational collectives often differ semantically from the original words, acquiring new connotations and even new denotations. The English endings age and addy often signify a collective. Sometimes the relationship is easily recognizable. Baggage, drainage, blockade. However, even though the etymology is plain to see, the derived words take on a distinct meaning. German uses the prefix ge to create collectives. The root word often undergoes umlaut and suffixation as well as receiving the ge prefix. Nearly all nouns created in this way are of neuter gender. Examples include das Gebirge, group of hills, mountain range, less than der Berg, mountain or hill. Das Gepäck, luggage, baggage, less than der Pack, pack bundle, pile. Das Geflügel, poultry, fowl, less than late mhg Geflügel, under the influence of der Flügel, wing, less than mhg Geflügel, less than ohg Gefügler equals collective formation of Vogel, bird. Das Gefieder, plumage, less than die Feder, feather. Dutch has a similar pattern, but sometimes uses the circumfix get. Berg, mountain, greater than Gebirgte, mountain range. Bean, bone, greater than Gebeente, skeleton. Vogel, bird, greater than Gevogelte, poultry. Blad, leaf, greater than Gebladete, foliage. The following Swedish example has different words in the collective form and in the individual form. An individual mosquito is a myga, but mosquitoes as a collective is mig. Esperanto uses the collective suffix -a to produce a large number of derived words, such as monto, mountain, greater than montero, mountain range. Birdo, bird, greater than birdaro, flock. Arbor, tree, greater than arboro, forest. Libro, book, greater than librero, library. Mangelo, utensil, greater than mangelaro, silverware, cutlery. Metonymic merging of grammatical number. Two good examples of collective nouns are team and government, which are both words referring to groups of people. Both team and government are count nouns. However, confusion often stems from the fact that plural verb forms are often used in British English with the singular forms of these count nouns. Conversely, in the English language as a whole, singular verb forms can often be used with nouns ending in s that were once considered plural. This apparent number mismatch is actually a quite natural and logical feature of human language, and its mechanism is a subtle metonymic shift in the thoughts underlying the words. In British English, it is generally accepted that collective nouns can take either singular or plural verb forms depending on the context and the metonymic shift that it implies. For example, the team is in the dressing room refers to the team as an ensemble, while the team are fighting among themselves refers to the team as individuals. This is also British English practice with names of countries and cities in sports contexts. For example, Germany have won the competition, Madrid have lost 3 consecutive matches, etc. In American English, collective nouns almost invariably take singular verb forms. In cases where a metonymic shift would be otherwise revealed nearby, the whole sentence may be recast to avoid the metonymy. See comparison of American and British English, formal and notional agreement. A good example of such a metonymic shift in the singular to plural direction is the following sentence. The team have finished the project. In that sentence, the underlying thought is of the individual members of the team working together to finish the project. Their accomplishment is collective, and the emphasis is not on their individual identities. Yet they are at the same time still discrete individuals. The word choice, team have, manages to convey both their collective and discrete identities simultaneously. A good example of such a metonymic shift in the plural to singular direction is the following sentence. Mathematics is my favorite academic subject. The word mathematics may have originally been plural in concept, referring to mathematic endeavors. But metonymic shift, that is, the shifting concept from the endeavors to the whole set of endeavors, produced the usage of mathematics as a singular entity taking singular verb forms. Nominally singular pronouns can be collective nouns taking plural verbs, according to the same rules that apply to other collective nouns. For example, it is correct British English or American English usage to say, none are so fallible as those who are sure they're right. In this case, the plural verb is used because the context for none suggests more than one thing or person. Terms of venery. The tradition of using terms of venery, or nouns of assembly, collective nouns that are specific to certain kinds of animals, stems from an English hunting tradition of the late Middle Ages. The fashion of a consciously developed hunting language came to England from France. It is marked by an extensive proliferation of specialist vocabulary, applying different names to the same feature in different animals. These elements can be shown to have already been part of French and English hunting terminology by the beginning of the 14th century. In the course of the 14th century, it became a courtly fashion to extend the vocabulary, and by the 15th century, this tendency had reached exaggerated proportions. The venery of Twitter distinguished 3 types of droppings of animals, and 3 different terms for heads of animals. Gaston Phoebus had 5 terms for droppings of animals, which were extended to 7 in The Master of the Game. The focus on collective terms for groups of animals emerges in the later 15th century. Thus, a list of collective nouns in Egerton MS 1995, dated to c. 1452 under the heading of Termus of Venery and c. extends to 70 items, and the list in the Book of St. Albans runs to 165 items, many of which, even though introduced by the companies of beasties and fowlies, do not relate to venery but to human groups and professions and are clearly humorous, such as of doctrina of doctorus, a sentence a jush, a fighting of beggars, an uncredibiliter of cocoldish, a melody of harpers, a gala of women, a disworship of Scottish, etc. The Book of St. Albans became very popular during the 16th century and was reprinted frequently. Gervase Markham edited and commented on the list in his The Gentleman's Academic in 1595. The book's popularity had the effect of perpetuating many of these terms as part of the standard English lexicon, even though they have long ceased to have any practical application. Even in their original context of medieval venery, the terms were of the nature of kennings, intended as a mark of erudition of the gentleman able to use them correctly rather than for practical communication. The popularity of these terms in the early modern and modern period has resulted in the addition of numerous light-hearted, humorous or facetious collective nouns.